Welcome to RVB Brixby Builds, where I provide insights to help you decide on what sets to buy and build today. In today's episode, we're going to learn how to make a themed Lego racetrack in 6 simple steps. Today, I'm using the food theme. So the first step is find and measure a space you want to build your racetrack on. In my case, I have a basement with a table that I'm going to use to measure, and I'm going to measure using base plates and use that for other measurements along our 6 steps as well. So this table happens to be about 5 base plates wide and about 8 base plates long that I'm going to use to build out my design later on. So now that that step's done, on to the next one. We're going to choose a theme. Should I do a city theme? Maybe safari, Halloween? No, I'm actually pretty hungry right now, so I think I'm going to do a food theme. There's a lot of city and creator 3-in-1 sets that I own that can help me do this, so that's fantastic. So now that we measured the spot, chose a theme, it's time to buy sets, build them, and also measuring them, again, using the base plate system. So now I'm going to go over the sets I'm going to be using to build my themed racetrack. So the first 3 are Creator 1 sets, and this one is the Pet Shop Cafe, about 1 base plate. We have the Cake Shop for another base plate in size, a Sweet Surprise set for, again, another base plate. The Pizza Van from the City theme is a base plate. Ice Cream Truck, I said about a half a base plate from the City theme. We also have the Popcorn Stand Poly Bag from the City theme, that's a 1/4 of a base plate. The Burger Bar Fire is about half a base plate. Being There Donut, it's another half a base plate. The Barbecue Burnout is about a half a base plate as well. And then I have Chef Enzo's Hot Dog that I'm going to use another half a base plate for as well. Here's just a more detailed look at the sets that I plan on using with the set numbers, piece count, and the minifigures that come in the set. If you're interested in buying any of these, the link should be down below in the description. So now that we have that, now we go into, we want to count how many base plates you currently own and start to actually design the layouts. So I'm going to show you in a second the base plates that I currently own, but obviously depending on your layout that you design, you can buy new additional ones, as well as for the designing of the layouts, you can use kind of 2 methods depending on what you have available to you. I'm going to show you how I do it in actual OneNote, because I prefer to do it on the computer. That way you can either quickly copy and paste multiple base plate layouts and redesign stuff without having to physically actually move Lego sets around and other ones. But if you don't have access to a computer, you can always use a piece of paper and do a similar kind of workflow that I can actually record in another video. So here's just a couple of views of the base plates that I currently own by size and color, as well as looking at what I actually have for road and track base plates, since we are doing a racing theme in this particular video. So with that being said, let's jump over to OneNote. I'll do a little screen sharing and walk through how I do it. So as you can see, I already typed in all the sets and their sizes, so I know how many base plates they're gonna take up, and also this makes it easier to click and drag or copy and paste as we design our layouts. So now I'm just going to go into the shapes and make squares and do it based on the 5 base plates wide and 8 base plates long. And each square will actually represent 1 base plate in the overall layout. That's way you know exactly what size you're looking at for your table and where it's going to fit, and so you don't over-engineer and miss something and have to completely go back to scratch and redesign everything. So as I'm doing that, you can also copy everything and repaste all of the squares that you just did, and you can do this multiple times, 1 time, 100 times, and you can just continue to make different layouts until you find one that you actually like. Now I'm going to go over to a little pen drawing thing and start to draw out the racetrack in this case, where I'm going to use like little C's or curves to indicate a curve racetrack or road, as well as just a straight line indicating a straight line. And instead of doing black, switch it over to gold so it stands out a little bit more. Hopefully. So as you can see, I'm just going through, just clicking and dragging and making turns and streaks, but also being mindful of leaving blank boxes so you can actually put the Lego sets in between the racetrack to make more of the theme that we're going for here. If you forget to do that, then you have to go back from scratch and you're gonna have to do it all over again. As well as you want to make sure your racetrack actually connects and you have enough space and you don't run into each other. So then once you kind of have some of a layout, you can start to click and drag the different set names into the different spots. So you can actually start to envision how it's going to lay out or make sure what you have currently fits in each one of the boxes. So I'm just going to quickly finish this super quick layout so I can show you kind of the next tip inside designing the layouts. So now that I have that done, we can always kind of continue to click and drag and move stuff around. And yes, it doesn't look that neat because words are going to overlay a box, but I think you get the general idea and kind of a super quick thing you can do while you're designing your layout inside OneNote. There are a bunch of other programs you can create squares and design stuff in. I just find OneNote's the easiest, so you can make different folders and different pages for your different track themes you're thinking about and that sort of thing as well. So now I'm going to grab a couple of colored and do it based on the color of the base plate I want to put underneath my sets. So obviously the gold is going to be the road track plates that take up the whole space. But for this instance, I'm going to put grass underneath most of my sets since it's more of a food and outdoor themed. So I'm just going to highlight that empty squares that don't have a racetrack with particular colors. So I have like 5 green. I'm going to put a gray underneath the burger bar. And then I'm also adding a little blue because maybe I don't want to fill with all the sets, but add a little like water in the mix and maybe do something with that in a little bit after. So you can continue to, like I said, copy and paste the whole entire layouts and make additional tracks until you find one that you like and that fits all your sets and that also connects. Just going through again, just another super quick layout just to be a little repetitive to get the gist of it going. And then this is my final one of the one that I'm actually going to build and show throughout the rest of this video and how it lays out. The S's stand for starting and finish line ones because I have racetracks with flags on it, so I decided to do that. But you should also count the number of curves and straight lines in your racetrack and road to make sure you have enough to actually complete your track. Otherwise, you just have to go out and buy additional ones if you really want to do this one, or go back to the drawing board and redesign, as well as the base plates to make sure you have enough of the color you're looking for to include in that base plate. So that's how I do the quick kind of designing. And again, you can go back and forth with that. And once you kind of decide on a layout, the next step is to build out that layout using the plan sets that we just walked through in the OneNote. So I'm going to start to do that and just let the video kind of take over right now. And as you can see, I'm just following the layout. I mixed it with both road and racetrack themed plates. And here's kind of the final just layout. As you can see, I have little like red squares or gray squares, and those are just additional ones to hold the racetrack together in a spot so it doesn't move. You don't have to do that. You can use different colors. But now I'm going to start to actually build and put the base plates in and start to add just the pieces that come with the set right now currently, and start to build out each individual section based on how I kind of planned it. So as you can see, popcorn stand, hot dog stand, I threw the water in the mix there because I want to do something with that later. Here's the pet shop and cake shop and toy shop mix, as well as the burger and barbecue scene that I'm going to put in this corner. So Now that we actually build our planned layout, put all the sets there, now let's go back and add details to make it really come to life. So I'm doing a little dance battle and adding, a couple extra pieces and kids with toys. And then the water, I put a lot of water theme, pirate, a little swamp thing you'll see in a second, just to make it a little bit more lively and fun. And then also, since it is food theme and like vendors, you might want to add customers so it looks a little busy, and have a whole bunch of miscellaneous minifigures with random food, and then eventually get into adding some plants and scenery to help fill in some of the gaps as we go. So I'm going to continue to do this across the board for all my plan sets. I have food and pizza and guys waiting in line. You have people running away from the burger bar fire and the barbecue rescue. Add a few more plants. And then I had an empty space that I didn't plan for, so I just kind of threw in a construction site with some brown base plate just to fill in the empty space. You don't see as much of the table. So here's kind of the final output. You could go even more into more scenery, which I didn't do, but you can definitely do that as well. And then start to add the race cars you want to the racetrack, which I don't show here. This is just taking a quick look at the overhead view of the final output. So that was number 6, the final set of adding scenery and extra minifigures and watching it come to life. So as we start to wrap up, let's go over our 6 simple steps for making a themed LEGO racetrack. Number 1, find and measure a space. Number 2, choose a theme. Number 3, buy, build, and measure your sets, and in both cases for measuring, use a 32 by 32 base plate to make a unified measure. Number 4 is take an inventory of all your base plates and start to design, whether you do that in OneNote, paper, or wherever else. It's just very helpful to pre-plan. Number 5 is to build out your pre-planned layout and see how everything looks and make changes as needed. Number 6 is to build upon what you already did to make more of a scene come to life, again using minifigures, extra scenery, maybe even throw more sets in there. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video and got some new tips and tricks to help you build your scenes or themed LEGO track. I have plenty more of how-to videos coming, along with speed builds of each of the individual sets you see here and plenty more to try to provide insights to help you decide on what sets you want to buy and build today. Well, again, thank you for listening. Feel free to subscribe, leave questions, comments, thoughts below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. This is RVB from RVB Brick Speed Builds, and I hope to see you in the next video.